Hey guys, I thought I'd just do a quick review of Spider-Man 2018. As you guys know, if you've been following this channel, I've finished playing Spider-Man, and this is just a few of my thoughts. I thought I'd just put in one video for you guys if anyone's interested. It's quite an old game now, it's about 3 years old, and I'm honestly so glad I played it. Some of you guys recommended it, and I didn't think I was going to play it at first because it was so old when I first played it, but honestly, one of the things that really shined about this game was how smooth it was. That's the first thing that I noticed. And even throughout the entire game as well, I was just so surprised by how it performed on the PS4 Pro. That's what I played it on. I didn't play it on the PS5. I might in the future, I'm not too sure, which I'll get into later. But honestly, it was holding a very, very decent frame rate. I was quite surprised. I thought it was going to be a little bit glitchy, a little bit buggy, especially with the rapid speed movements of the web slinging and that sort of stuff. But it was honestly really good. I was really, really surprised. And I think they've done a really incredible job. That's definitely the most standout feature, which I really took away from initially and throughout the game as well. First off, I wanted to talk about the environment. So with the environment, I thought it was very typical Spider-Man. It wasn't anything new, nothing spectacular that set it apart from the other Spider-Man games. New York City, bit of construction going on, some crime going on, people in the background, just that normal hustle and bustle of the city that was all present, just like it was in the previous games. Obviously the graphics have been bumped up a little bit. Honestly, it wasn't something, if you've played the previous Spider-Man games, I don't think it's anything that's too spectacular. It's it's expected, and it just delivers very neutral on that. Doesn't wow you, doesn't underperform either. It's sort of just baseline neutral. Also, what I found was very neutral was the level design, the way everything interacts, the story, the plot, the way you meet people and where you meet them and where your fights are. It's all very, very simple, very just like all the other games, you know, on top of skyscrapers, on the street, in a building or in a construction site. Nothing new there. It didn't really stand out to me that much, but like I said, the smoothness was there, so it still made it somewhat playable. I thought it was still decent. I really enjoyed it, but for someone who's played Spider-Man before, maybe it was repetitive. I'm not too sure. If you guys have played it, I'd love to know your thoughts. Please comment below. So coming back to my point earlier before, the smoothness. So the whole smoothness is just interplayed so well with the gameplay. The way the game sounds, the music, the sound effects, everything is just really put together clean. How the gameplay mechanics was, the ability to hit an enemy, move on to another enemy, go back to the enemy, hit another enemy, web sling out of the way, use your gadgets. It was all seamless, and that was really well done. It's been there in the previous Spider-Man games as well, and I think in Miles Morales. I haven't played it yet, but that's taken up another notch. But for PS4 Pro, it's honestly, I was mind blown. I didn't expect it to be like that. Talking about sound design and the sound effects, it really, everything's just crisp. I think it was really good. There's nothing that you could fault on, absolutely nothing that you could say that was bad, or it wasn't out of the world, but at the same time you had nothing bad to say about it either. So I did a great job at that. So with the story, I felt that the story was really good. It wasn't. There were some parts of it which I didn't expect it to go down the way it was, especially with the way Peter Parker interacts with MJ and his auntie, and the introduction of Miles Morales as well. I thought that was all very smooth. It was seamless. It was very simple, yet it was done in a very complex way that kind of fit into the narrative very well. There was a lot of emotions there as well, you know, like between MJ and Peter and Aunt May, and then getting to know Miles Morales. It was all sort of new. It felt very fresh. somewhat. I guess the stuff with MJ has just been continuing on for years now. I guess that's expected, but I thought it was really good. Honestly just can't fault it. It was like, again, just neutral. It was great. Nothing too spectacular, nothing too underwhelming. It just sort of played it safe, I guess. Some of the bad things, which not so much bad, but some of the things that I really didn't like about this game was I felt like it was really repetitive. I felt in the combat towards the end of the game. With the challenges, again, I thought that was very repetitive. Getting things and taking photos of this and that. I thought it was just, when you start doing it, the challenges one after the other, you can really start seeing the repetitiveness. It kind of lacked imagination in that regard. But I think for you to enjoy it, I felt like you just kind of had to play the game and then do a side mission or do a challenge off to the side whenever you felt like it, when you felt like doing it. You wouldn't want to do it for the sake of doing them and just for like upgrades. I felt like when I was doing that, I didn't feel any enjoyment out of the game. It felt like it was making me do that in order to enjoy the main story, sort of, if that makes sense. I'm not too sure, but I feel like there should be a little bit better integration in that regard. I haven't played Miles Morales. Like I hope it's better in that, or if whatever Spider-Man games comes out in the future, I really hope they do that a little bit better. To be honest, I think that's where every game lacks. So I don't think it's just Spider-Man. I think every game tries really hard to integrate challenges and secondary stories into the main gameplay where the person wants to play it and have fun with it. So yeah, I don't blame them. It's really hard, it's really tricky in a game, but for me, I thought it was just too repetitive when I kept doing it for the sake of upgrades. So that's all I really wanted to say. If honestly it was good, would I play it again? Probably not. Maybe on the PlayStation 5. Like I would love to see the graphics on PlayStation 5, especially in performance mode, the 60 frames. That looks pretty juicy. I've seen a few previews. So let's just see where the future goes. If I was to give it out of 10, I think I'd give it 8 out of 10. It was honestly, and that's just because of how smooth the game is. It was honestly, for me, I thought it was mind-blowing. For the technology that they had before 2018 on such limited hardware like the PlayStation 4 Pro, it just held the frames really well. And I thought it was good. That's really where it got 8. Other than that, I think I'd probably give it 7.5, 7 if it didn't have that. But anyways, I would love to know what you guys think. If you guys would rate it what I did, or if you've played it and you give it higher, please let me know in the comments. Anyways, I hope you guys really enjoyed this review. If you did, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys in the next video, whatever that might be. Alright, see ya.
He is coming, and he will destroy all sinners!